Emily Spencer with the Racing Boys, and I caught up with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Big news with the NOS announcement, and finally get to see it on the track. That is one fine-looking race car. Talk about your relationship with NOS and how you've developed it over the years.
Yeah, it started back in 2012 after we won our first Xfinity Series championship, and and we've had a great relationship. And they went a different direction there for a few years, and I still kept in touch with everybody. Still, saw them whenever I could, and hung out with everybody at NOS Energy Drink. And it's kind of a now that Monster owns it, they have a lot bigger group, but forever it was just Lauren Albano, and she still just runs the whole thing. And so we kept our friendship going, and she's done a lot with the NOS Energy Drink brand behind me before they ever came back to the Cup car. And they're doing a lot of stuff in dirt track racing. A lot of fans are getting behind the brand and continuing to push it, and that's something cool to see. It's tough to get a company to come in and invest that much into racing these days, and so they're seeing a big benefit of that on the dirt side. And with my sprint car team, with the title sponsorship of the Outlaws, the USAC, all across the board, and so they're enjoying that. And we're doing a couple races here with our 17 team, and hopefully we can get some good runs out of it and get some good exposure for them on the national stage as well as what they're doing on the grassroots stage.
You've spent your entire career at Roush. It really seems to have benefited that organization to go to two Cup teams and bring in a veteran like Ryan Newman. Do you feel that this is the strongest you guys have been since Carl Edwards was there, since Greg, since Matt? I mean, you guys have the consistency that really seems to have been missing over the last couple of years.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like you said, going to two Cup teams was a bummer. Obviously you want your team to be as big as possible. When I got to Roush, it was the biggest team in NASCAR, and it was fun. It was cool. Everything was jiving the way it needed to. The Cup cars ran well. Our Xfinity program was really tough to beat, and the truck teams as well. But over the years, I think we kind of ran ourselves a little bit thin. Running the Xfinity program and the Cup program, we were just not being able to focus on either one of them as good as what we had. And when you're trying to make up ground, the more things that you're having to focus on, the tougher it is. And so going to the two teams, it's definitely been beneficial this year. And with Ryan coming over, him and I got a really good relationship, and I feel like I respect everything that he's done throughout his career, and and the thought process behind the way he explains his race cars, and it almost helps me a little bit when we're sitting there talking, and kind of maybe feel a little bit more in my car, and can maybe give a little bit better input. So it's been a really good process to get better. I mean, we're still not anywhere close to where we want to be, but I do feel I felt like 2013 was probably our strongest year as a company in Cup since I've been there, and I would say this is the second.
I know we got an off week next week, and I also know you're a huge golfer. Have you played Pebble before, and do you have any interest in going to the U.S. Open, and do you have a favorite for that tournament?
Man, it'd be cool to go out there. I haven't played it. There's a couple times we had it lined out to go play, and then something else came up. But I'm not going to go out either. I got a friend's wedding to go to out in California, so we're just going to hang out there. But I'll definitely be paying attention and watching. Favorite? I don't know. There's so many good golfers right now. I did pick Tiger for the Masters, but I got lucky there.
Yeah, I think you were spot on.
I don't know. I mean, Tiger's won there going away. I mean, he's really good at that golf course, and I think a lot of those places it's tough to beat the experience. Brooks Koepka didn't play well this last week. I think he struggled a little bit, but you got golfers, I feel like, that just find their stride like in 1 week, and you'll have some people that hadn't been in, making cuts or, in the top 10 that all of a sudden come out and, fire some low scores. I mean, Brant Snedeker shot 60 yesterday, and it's just kind of crazy. Those golfers, when they start clicking, they can really rattle off some good rounds. So, but I think, going into it, I think it's going to be tough to beat Tiger again. But, I don't know if I want to pick him.
When we do get back to racing, we'll be at Sonoma. They're adding the carousel. Has your dirt track experience helped you all wheel it around a road course like that? And what do you expect out of the carousel?
No, we've struggled a little bit. The year that Carl won in 2014, I think it was, we had passed him the run before, and then the pit strategy worked out where he was able to pit, and caution came out, and he took the lead and stayed there. And I feel like I can run some good lap times around there. I feel like I struggle racing a little bit, working on passing and the braking zones, and I'm always a little hesitant. I'm aggressive on all the ovals, but when it comes to a road course and diving inside of somebody, and I've had a lot of issues with our cars wheel hopping and things like that, and so I always end up playing a little bit conservative because I don't want to wheel hop underneath somebody and crash them and ruin their day. So I've always struggled a little bit on the racing aspect of the road courses, but I enjoy it. We just haven't had those really good runs yet.
Final question. Tanner Thorson, 3 months ago, he was laid up in a hospital bed. He comes out and wins this week at Indiana Midget Week. What can you say about the kid's perseverance and just his will to come back? Because, like you, racing is everything to him.
Yeah, no, it was really neat to see that. And, when I saw that he was going to run Keith's car, I was like, oh, man, that's really cool. And then, that very first night, he had a shot at winning and then ran good the second night. And then, obviously had a heated battle there for the win that he ended up winning there at Lincoln Park. And so it was really neat to see. I texted him and told him that was really cool to see. He still struggles walking and, doesn't have a ton of strength, and, he's still going through a lot. But when I heard of his injuries and, like right after it happened, I was like, man, there's no way he's going to be able to come back and, wheel a sprint car. But, kind of like, you can't ever say that these days. You look at Ken Roxon and what he's gone through and still riding dirt bikes. I think that probably gave, Tanner probably a little bit of perspective, like, hey, I can get back going. I think he's only going to get better. His ankle's still not 100%, which is kind of crazy in a midget. The way you use your right foot and how much damage he had to it. He's still really smooth with it.
Appreciate your time.
You're welcome.